Wait for that. Not on my computer.
I'm like,
All right, gang. Are we ready?
I'm ready.
Everyone good?
Good.
Okay, ready? Let's do it. All right, welcome everybody. It is, today is Tuesday, May 19th, 2026. This is the Math and Science Academy Board of Directors meeting, and we are being called to order at 6 p.m. Could we have our reading of our mission, vision, and land acknowledgement, please?
Our mission is that we provide accelerated and inclusive curricula and instruction in all subjects with an emphasis on math and science.
Our vision is to be an innovative, sustainable model of academic excellence for all students. Through accelerated and inclusive instruction, MSA nurtures well-rounded lifelong learners and global citizens.
And land acknowledgement?
The land acknowledgement, we would like to acknowledge that the land we gather on is the land of the Ocheti Shikoe and the people of the Seven Council Fires and the Bedouin Band. The existence of the Dakota Oyate have lived in this area since time immemorial, and before the U.S. war was created, and the state of Minnesota was created. They lived within Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, and Michigan. They were caretakers of the land and lived in harmony. They belonged to the land and the land did not belong to them. It is within MSA's responsibility as an academic institution to disseminate knowledge about Indigenous people and their history and relationship with this land. MSA works to build a relationship with Indigenous students and their families through academic pursuits and historical recognition.
Thank you. Okay, our roll call. Kari Kurter here. Brian Linsmeyer.
Here.
Sarah Harms. Here. Jen Nice. Not able to be present tonight. Isaac Leonardi.
Here.
Mark Gresseth.
Here.
Leanne Ahmad.
Here.
Mary Yap.
Here.
And Jen Larson.
Here.
Student Representatives Sega Shabatu. And Ryan Cunningham.
Here.
Perfect. All right, we did not have any open forum requests, so we'll move on with that. Next is we need to approve tonight's agenda. So we'll start with a motion to approve the agenda.
I move to approve tonight's agenda.
Do you have a second? Second. Thank you. Any agenda concerns, questions? Mary?
I do, and I apologize for not getting this to you.
Okay.
But I'm wondering, based upon looking at the contracts, if we can pull one out, I'd like a further discussion with our growth. And that would be the mini Apple one.
From the consent agenda, letter D, number 4.
And I would like to add it to the discussion items, or action items, I guess.
Okay.
It used to say discussion and action, so.
Oh, sure. You bet. Commentary, thoughts, questions about that movement? Leanne?
I would say that I would like to discuss that contract as well.
Okay. I don't see any reason why it can't be moved, is it?
Anything
Yeah,
can be pulled
sure.
from the consent.
Okay. So then we would need to approve the agenda with the movement of the Minneapolis Health contract to be moved to a action item.
So it would be moved to
11. Yeah, we'll make it 11. Can we make it 11A1? We'll just put it in there right away.
Sure.
Sure. We'll go in there somewhere. Okay. Does that sound okay? Any other commentary on that? All right. So our motion is to approve the agenda with the movement of one item to an action item. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes. Great. Are there any conflicts of interest tonight? Super. Then we'll approve our minutes from the last meetings. We need a motion to approve the April 21st board meeting minutes.
I'll move to approve.
I guess we'll just do them both at the same time. I'm sorry, we'll move both April and the May special board meeting. So we have a motion to approve.
Approve both board meetings.
Do you have a second?
A second.
Any questions? Anything with the agenda you wanted to look at? No discussion? Would you, all in favor of approving the minutes? Aye? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes. All right, so tonight we're gonna start with board recognition. We have two groups of students to recognize, so I'll let Dr. Hinton do that.
Okay. I would like to start by recognizing our two student board representatives who have been here every board meeting, or provided coverage and given us information on how things are going for the school, for students, and as part of our normal cadence, when somebody is finished with their board term, we provide them with a dragon. So here is the dragon, and we thank you, and where are you? You're graduating, right? Where are you headed off to college?
Cornell University.
Ooh, congratulations, and then you're still in 11th grade, right? Yep, so we've got one more year with you here. So thank you so much, we really do appreciate you, and we'll take your picture with everyone else when we bring up the Digabots. Okay,
All right.
thank you
Guys.
very much.
Guys, thank you.
Thank you. All right, and then we have a second group to acknowledge as well, which are our Digabots.
Yes, so our Digabots have just competed in the world competition for robotics, and they did phenomenally. From what I understand, you placed first, right, at the world competition, so that's phenomenal, and also got the core values championship. So not only were you great at competing in your robotics, but you were model citizens too. So that it was a wonderful thing for you to demonstrate to the entire world and show off for MSA. So thank you all so much. And we'd like you to come forward too and be recognized. And I just want to ask, what was the best part of being at the world competition? Does someone want to tell me? What do you think?
Yeah, all right. Did you say the experience?
Yes, and see the teams from around the world.
Wow.
Okay.
So, how many teams were there?
160. In
Wow.
their division alone. Yeah, in just
Really?
FLL, it was 160, and some of the countries, you guys remember some of the countries that you saw? Singapore, Kazakhstan, Kazakhstan, thank you. Sweden,
Wow.
Israel, South Africa, New Zealand, and
Several
we
Australia.
got the best core values of all of them.
That
Yes,
is-
congratulations. Oh, go ahead.
I was just thinking forward to next year. So next year now, hopefully you go back, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully you go back at it next year. That's so amazing.
Where was it held this year?
Houston.
In Houston, okay. And do you guys know where it will be held next year?
It is in Houston in perpetuity.
Oh, it is, and it's,
Yes.
okay.
For the next 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Wow.
We
Maybe you'll
also
get
have-
to know Houston pretty well.
We also have stuff for you guys.
Oh, you do?
Well, please break out.
We have pins, little 3D printed,
Awesome.
Oh my.
like,
So when we were there, we did our own swag. So, we would give this away, so feel free to grab a 3D printed Digabot or a
Thank you.
pin. What's great is that the pin itself, unfortunately, one of our 7th members in here, you see on the back of Daphne's shirt, that mascot was actually drawn by our 7th member.
Wow.
And so we turned that into our mascot. And that has
Which
been
one's
our
your pin?
mascot. And you can have more than one of the
By all
Of the
means.
3D
That one?
printed one, please. Please.
Right.
We have so many.
Take a handful.
Feel free.
And shockingly, that is still only maybe an eighth of what we brought down to
What
Houston.
we brought down there.
Wow.
Wow.
They were very, very popular.
That's,
you.
so did you sell these down there?
Oh, no.
Oh, they were just like
They were just
giveaway.
takeaway
They're
chopsticks.
giveaways.
Wait,
Wow.
because that's part of the thing is we had all these buttons we would trade with other teams, because it's
wow.
a co-opetition. It's about
So fun.
friendly cooperation
Yeah, I
and
know that.
competition, and everybody wanted to trade with everything, so it was a way for people to remember the Digabots.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Oh, that is so neat. What did you come back with from other countries in the trading?
I came back with a little stuffed panda from a team from China.
What's your guys' favorite swag?
I can't select no buttons.
Yeah.
There's like a mini
that's
set
cool.
from Mexico.
They did a really nice.
So we got a Geo from
It's really
Canada.
cool.
I
Wow.
also like these tiny koalas from from Australia. And one of my also favorites was the ducks. Oh, the ducks, yes. Little ducks.
The team directly across from them was from the Netherlands. They were rubber ducks.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
wow.
great. Oh, that's
Cute.
amazing. All right, well, we're gonna ask all of you in purple and you two young to come up. We'll shake your hands and we'll take a picture, okay?
Okay.
So, come on up. Thank you all for coming.
Yeah.
Thank you, congrats. Keep up the great work.
Yeah.
All right, oh, we have the best students here.
Yes.
They're awesome. Okay, let us move on. So now we have our consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda minus D4, which has been moved out?
I'll move to
Approved.
approve the consent agenda minus D4, which has been moved to action items.
Second? Any commentary on the consent agenda?
I have a comment.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't receive an answer from the question that I asked as to why we're approving if we don't have a responsibility over these contracts.
Okay.
So typically, I mean, as the board, you have responsibility over everything that even that I do. It's been our cadence to approve these contracts partly because we are not necessarily, don't know what the IEP needs will be of our incoming students, so it's possible that these contracts could end up being more. I mean, they're built through special ed, but they could still be more. We just don't know yet because we don't have the students yet. So it's been our, every year in May, we have approved the contracts, primarily the special ed contracts, which are what these are. So it's just been our cadence.
Well, I did ask for a report that could have shown the cost serving 700 students, so we have some sense of what the cost is gonna be serving 1,300, and other outcomes related to the contract, particularly with the Minneapolis one, which I'm glad we're gonna be discussing, but I didn't get a response on that either. So I do recommend in the future, even if it's annual review and consent, it says annual contract review, but when I asked for some data as to what is the annual information that we're reviewing, I didn't get any additional. And so I do hope that in the future, perhaps by resolution, we could request some more regular updates from you as the executive director report on contracts and grants, even if they're within your threshold. It'd be nice for us, like you said, it is our board responsibility, whether or not we have to approve.
Just to clarify, so with that was in your request, their email that you sent, right? So, yes, I think that going forward, we can definitely look for that. I know that this is a really busy time, so I don't know in a 2-day turnaround if that would have gotten back to you yet with the information. But we can certainly look at in June at our workshop, just how to review reports. If that-
Right, I mean, I don't know what
Yeah.
report is requested at this
Right.
point. Because, you know,
Mhm.
like this year we have one student who's deaf, hard of hearing.
Okay,
I don't know what we would have next year or not, so.
Yeah, and that's fine, and I'll just say respectfully, we didn't get the information on time either, so.
And maybe just a point of clarification, I think just understanding what the process is for contract renewals, like how often are you guys doing that? Is it school year by school year, like when do you go through the process? I think just a little bit more insight
So
into that would be
these are
helpful.
the special education contracts. There are some contracts that we're just in for continuous contracts. Our lawn service is a continuous contract, our accounting services are continuous contracts, our cleaning service is a continuous contract. We do consider whether or not we continuously review whether or not we're getting the services that we are paying for and if it's a good value or not. If we at any time feel like they're not a good value, then we would put them up for renewal. For special education, some of these are case managers for our students, and so, and there's standard thresholds for cost. I don't evaluate these people, our special ed director brings forward. And many of these contracts have been in the board folder for 6 weeks, so they are there. It's just, sometimes they're not attached, but I think they were all in by Friday.
okay. So thank you for bringing up those questions, and that is something, yes, we can definitely look at through a workshop time, make sure we have a very streamlined and easy to access, so we all know where the information is.
Yeah, I think regular reporting, if you are continuously reviewing them, then sharing that information with us would be helpful. We have no idea what the cost was last year and cannot extrapolate what the cost is gonna be next year. So,
And I think too, like when you look at like the WIC contract, if you add all of that up, and I know there's different services associated with that, but like was there an evaluation of whether that's a direct employment versus contracting with how much we're spending, like, some of those, I think, questions are helpful if you guys if we're understanding kind of how you're evaluating them. And I don't think it's when I look at this, there was nothing that seemed like outrageous. It's not like, I don't think it's like outrageous from a costing, it's when I think about it from like a business standpoint, those recurring costs, or even if you think of like your Spotify, and they just add up over time, and so it's
Right.
like, what are
Yeah.
what are those recurring costs and what is the process for just evaluating them?
So we're legally required to have these services. The most school psychologists, unless you're a very large district, are contract because this school site serves several schools, not just ours. So it's typical to have, you know, a contract like this. It's not, you're gonna have a hard time hiring somebody under employment for that. And we don't always know how many SPED evaluations we're gonna have, how many, you know, because they have to do a lot of paperwork depending on how many evaluations. So the cost changes depending on how many new students get evaluated for SPED, how many 3-year annual reviews happen. They don't have as much to do with just a regular IEP meeting, but they do have a lot to do on a re-eval and an initial evaluation. So it's very hard to predict what the cost will be. Plus, we have to remember that all of these are billed back to the home district. So in the end, MSA, although we are good stewards for the money, we do not pay these contracts.
So, okay, just to clarify, so you said that, so our special ed services gets paid out through District 33?
The home district of the student,
Oh,
wherever
the
the
student.
student came from. They pay
Gotcha.
90% and then we get another 4 to 6% back from the state.
Oh.
So we, for special ed services, very little comes out of the MSA budget.
Oh.
It passes through the MSA budget, but we don't pay for special ed services typically.
Anything else with the consent agenda? All right, so then I guess our motion is to approve the consent agenda. So all in favor of approving this one? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? All right, thank you, motion passes. Next, we'll move on to our reports, student reports.
Yeah, so, last Saturday, we had our prom this year, and I've heard many great things about it, and it's been a great improvement from last year, especially people mentioning the food part, which was something that they liked, and just spending time on the boat with everyone and just taking as many photos as we could was just something that we all liked to end the school year off.
For anyone who might not know, where did you go, where was the prom held?
It was on the Mississippi River,
Just one
It was
boat?
on the Jonathan Paddle.
And the boat, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so one big, wow.
I sent emails to as many clubs as I could. Again, I got 3 responses, so it's all right. Spanish club, they said that they've had a really good experience. Mr. Pada said he started working here in 2023, and he's so excited to see how his club has grown. They have 36 active students, and some meetings even have 40. And they work hard on activities with different cultures in the world, and they have visited a park close to the school to play sports like football, soccer, and other outdoor activities. And then the students are very disciplined, respectful, and are always proactively working, and the club has a president and 4 vice presidents. And then chess club is going good, and yeah. And then lastly is Triam. So Triam, they've added a lot of new members, but they said that they handled it really well by splitting meetings into high school and middle school. And then doing this has helped them keep meetings focused and fun for their purposes. And then they wanted to share that to see our music groups in action. On today, actually, there is a choir concert, and on the 26th, band is on the 20th, and orchestra is on the 27th. And our advanced band will also be playing at graduation.
Great, thank you. Sounds like it's been a busy year. What's going on? Thank you, guys. Okay, board report. Brian, do you want to share?
And we went through, took a look at a little bit of healthcare for the employees, along with the healthcare curriculum. Just an overview of what's going on. All corrective action was also discussed, that it's been removed, and then we had a positive review. We took a look at our data, and we looked at the strengths and areas of improvement from the parents. It was very positive. We noticed that our students were very positive, looking mainly at the improvement of safety, the individual and community. Students feel that we have a lot of academic success. Staff feel positive, safe, and respect the board, that we held up the mission. So going through there, PD, trying to make sure we keep it relevant for them and purposeful, so that they can take it back into the classroom. And then we're also looking on how to support Kate and her position, and as we move forward with all the new people coming on, as we grow.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Kate, you have an expansion report?
Yep, so I was out at the building today. We are in the final stretch of completion. After, I think, 5 kitchen changes in the plans. That has been very complicated. They are finally finishing that out. So we are very excited to be able to move forward with that. They are nearly finished. The big staircase is in. Most of the carpet is in the multi-purpose room kind of media area. That carpet went in this week. There's some carpet upstairs that has gone in. They were getting ready to paint the staircase, get the railings and all of that finished. And there's very little left to go. We picked out where the bike racks are going, and really kind of walked through that today. They have cleaned up and repaired most of the landscaping that had been damaged over the winter. They are getting ready to, next Tuesday, start installing the second layer of asphalt on the parking lot, and installing the track events that we had approved. So those are gonna be going on soon, and then they'll be getting ready to put this, there's a rubberized coating that goes on top of the track. That will be going in shortly as well. So the RTU unit screenings, those are the things that go around the air conditioning and heating units on the roof of the 3-story section. Those are due to arrive mid-June and will be installed shortly after that. The last of the cabinetry is expected to arrive the 3rd week in June. Once that has been installed, they can finish the plumbing that goes with those science sinks. Once the plumbing is finished, then we can get occupancy. But until the plumbing is finished, they can't do the final, we can't get the certificate of occupancy until that happens. We are doing something which apparently will take all day, Friday the 29th, is the pre-punch list, which I imagine we are going to walk around and look for imperfections in the building. So apparently that is a full day activity. So hopefully that goes well. And so they do that first, and then there is a final punch list. So it will be me, our construction, our owner's rep, the construction company, and then the architects go around, and they've already started working on that. So if you go in the building today, you'll see little pieces of blue tape all over the place. Those are apparently imperfections in the wall, and they are working on fixing those. There's still some more things, that fixing the concrete, so the inside walls, many of them are concrete, and so you can't just fix those. They have to bring out Wells, who's our concrete contractor, to do those. They've come out and done some. There's still more that needs to be done. So hopefully that will go quick and there won't be too much for that. But otherwise, we're really, really close. We're just waiting on the kitchen, and then we've got to put down the flooring in the cafeteria, and then we'll be pretty much ready to go. We're very close. So if you go in there, it really does look like a regular school. It's just the last bits of, really the casework is what's holding us up the cabinetry at this point. So,
I've heard a lot of parents asking, and other people asking about tours. I know you've put that out there, but can you just reiterate when the tours will begin?
yep, so they will begin in August, and they will be every Tuesday in August. We'll do a 9 a.m., a noon, and a 3 p.m. We're waiting until August because then all the furniture will be in, so we'll look a little bit more. And then people under the age of 18 are allowed to enter the building. Currently, you can't go on site because it's still considered an active construction site. If you're under 18 or a student, the building is currently insured as a construction site, not as a school. So we don't have that. Adults, if they're in there, you know, members of the school community, that's one thing. But if we have students in there and anybody gets hurt, there's no insurance for that. So we're waiting till August so that things will be fairly set and we can really welcome people and engage them.
Great. I think people will be excited to see it,
Yes.
definitely. All right, thank you. Then, do you have, Dr. Nisbell, your ED reports?
Yep, so there's two things. I just wanted to give a quick update to the board and the community on our change in authorizer. That is underway. There were a number of clarifications that MDE had asked for. Most of that is a process that's happening between NEO and SAM, working that out. They did ask us for some additional information. We had to update our enrollment and admissions procedures, so those are on the agenda today because those need to be board approved. Then we will send those in, and then the only other thing that they asked for was Jen Larson's oath of office, because at the time we submitted, you had not signed it yet, and they couldn't figure out how in the 6 weeks that had passed, how we could have a member on the board now when we didn't have one before, and then where is the...
Where did she come from?
Yes, so, I mean, that was fine, so we sent all that off. Sam has been working and sending in a lot of documents, they all look great. Wendy's been working on things, so the hope is that we will be able to get that back in again. We have 15 business days, it came Wednesday afternoon. I can't remember the exact date, it's in the first week of June, it has to be back. The sooner we get it back, they have a certain number of days to respond. So the sooner we get it back, the sooner we get the response, so we can move on to the next process, which is the elementary approval. So that's kind of where we are with that. The other thing that I have shared right now is our initial MCA scores. They're still embargoed, but as a whole, we can look at how we did. These are initial. There is no reading scores because there is a new reading test and it hasn't been normed yet. So this is the first year that we gave the high school science test, and we did phenomenally with 64% proficient, and then the 8th grade was 47.3% proficient. Statewide last year, I think the proficiency rate was like 18%. It was very low. So we are doing very well with our science, so thank you to our science teachers. They've done quite well. Our math scores, we have a low spot with the 6th grade. Those students came in rather low in their placement tests, and so they are making progress, but we're continuing to work with them. The rest of the scores, 7th and 8th, of note, there were 0 kids in the 7th grade that did not meet standard. I have never seen that. I actually thought there was a problem with the scores, but there was not. And 8th grade also did quite well, and that group had been rather low when they came in 6th grade, so they're doing much better. The 11th grade is at 70.8%. One of the things that keeps that score a little bit lower than maybe historically is now students who are in PSEO are excused from the test. Those tend to be some of our higher scoring students. So we're very happy with nearly 71% in our math proficiency. So late August, early September, we will get the reading scores. But we have no way to really tell how those came out. I think they'll be doing well, but we'll see.
Thank you. Okay, Finance Committee.
Yeah, our finance committee met last week on Tuesday. Looking through, our surplus was at 11,728. ADM was at 732, and we drew attention to that. It was a little bit lower due to kind of a coding issue on a PSCO, Inver Hills Community College. But we adjusted our ADM to reflect this, but not on our end, I guess. But 4 was decreased from our ADM. Our debt service coverage ratio was at 0.96, and then along with our cash balance was below what we want, but they're aware of that. We did have a large furniture order that lowered our cash balance too, due to kind of a amount reflected that we knew was gonna happen. Yeah, we talked a little bit about fundraising AFC. They did not meet yet. They're hoping to send the brick order in. If there's anyone else who wants to buy some bricks, please do so soon. Talked a little bit about budget with our incoming students and our enrollment goal. We were close, and that number might change throughout the summer. And then expansion financial updates. We talked a little bit about kitchen and the upcoming financing of our kitchen appliances that will be on the agenda further later.
So then I guess do we need to ready to approve the April financial report?
I can move to approve the financial report.
For a second? Any other questions about the April financial report? Okay, no discussion, so all in favor of approving the April financial report? Aye? Opposed? Abstained? Okay, the report passes. Thank you, Sarah. Governance Committee report, Jen's not here tonight. I can just run through it really quickly, I guess, what's on here. At the Governance Committee, there were some policies up for review and just some legislative updates. We looked at the family and medical leave policy, which is 410. State law changed with that one, so we looked at that. There will probably be another, guessing there'll be another policy coming out to kind of provide for the changes that were made. Some of the other ones like 503, the student attendance, and 504, the student dress and appearance. Look good, there's a legislative update for attendance as to who the request for absence can be submitted to. There was nothing to really change or look at for the student dress. Transportation of charter school students. We just want to make sure that we look at the new MSBA policy that's coming, bring it back for our next governance committee meeting. Transportation, of course, goes through 833, so we just want to make sure that we're all in a line in compliance. And the crisis management policy, which is 806, we reviewed that. Things to consider would be the number of buildings that we'll have. We have in the, I think the way it's stated, that we have 4 buildings. We'll have 1 building next year, but we'll have 2, hopefully, multiple buildings, hopefully when elementary opens. So possibly just leaving that as the buildings, and that can be whatever that number might be at the moment. Looking at that, and we talked about active shooter drills, and that they're not done as a trauma for students it's unnecessary trauma, but certainly there are plans in place. So those were the big things covered. We did do some updates on 2 policies that had been talked about and requested. We talked about the bullying policy. We had requested that Dr. Morrow chime in what he thought. In his feedback that came back, he emailed back that he did feel like the definition currently in there of bullying covers a variety of, all types of bullying. They don't, not all spelled out, but bullying is bullying. They separate it into bullying and cyberbullying, and that those are 2 different kind of spaces. Cyberbullying is a different spatial idea thought there. So we just talked about how to make sure that social bullying, social isolation is addressed and covered. So that is something that we can look at further with committees and with advisory time, or however the bullying comes out at MSA with their training for students and staff. And then policy 102.3, which was the student disability policy within the racial policy that students had created. Leanne is still waiting on some information and thinking that student leading would be more appropriate, that's where the policy came from originally, right? Is that correct, Leanne? So, more to come on that. And that is the governance. Update from April. Yes, Leanne.
In the previous months, there was an indication on the notes section on the bottom that we will be revisiting 721 after legislative session. I just want to make sure that we do not forget to do that.
Thank you.
I believe that policy is still needs some updates on the threshold.
Yeah, it's gonna have updates.
And I was hoping for a re-review.
Yeah, I believe it's on the governance agenda to be reviewed in June, to come back to the board in August and September, because it'll need 2 reads. And that will allow us to make sure that it is in line with the, whatever we approve in July for the purchasing authority.
So, yeah, thank you for going back to see the notes, and yes. So that sounds good that will be reviewed and revisited. Okay, so our action items. We have a number of them. I guess let's just go ahead and start with the Minneapolis Health contract. Caitlin, does it matter to you where we put this in?
You said 11A, so we should
Okay.
do it now.
Let's do it now, 11A. So the Minneapolis Health contract, I guess we'll start with a motion to approve the contract, and then we'll open up for discussion for the thoughts and questions people had. So is there a motion to approve the Minneapolis Health contract?
I'll move to approve the mini health contract.
Is there a second? I can second the motion. Questions or commentary? We can just go around, and if you have a thought, how we share out, let's make sure we raise hands, and give them a chance to have their voices heard. So, thoughts about the contract?
Want me to start since I asked to pull it?
Sure, sounds good.
Okay, in reading through this, I had a couple of questions. One, because this doesn't pertain solely to 504 and IEP kids, it's not solely a special ed contract, it's to all students. And we're increasing we're almost doubling our size for next year. So, that got me starting to think, and then when I was reading through it, under Exhibit A, it says it is highly recommended that all schools which do not have a licensed school nurse on staff utilize general education nursing consultants. Per statute 121A.21, districts with 1,000 students or more should employ a full-time equivalent licensed school nurse. And that's where I'm wondering, it's right in their exhibit, And I went back and I looked at it, and at what point do we say it's going to be more beneficial for us to hire a school nurse, given that sixth graders can't be self-caring, they can't self-carry their medications, so, and that's where the bulk of our students are coming in next year. So as we look at that, that concerns me, because I don't want us to approve something that's gonna put us out of alignment with state statute. And, when I'm looking at the costs, the cost of, okay, what's it looking like? What did we spend this year with 700? What are we, you know, we're going to be looking at significant increases for next year. And the training for, I can only imagine, I've been here at lunches when I've seen kids going in to get medications and so forth in just one office area. Now you're gonna have all those kids coming into one office area. I mean, that to me almost sounds like a full-time office person just handling medication and attendance.
So we will have a clinic, they will not be going to the office
Okay.
for that, and we will have a full-time health aide in place. We also employ a full-time school nurse, who is Becky Bogan. She is here full-time. She is a licensed school nurse. She doesn't typically perform much nursing. She does manage our students with diabetes and whatnot through her role. We will have somebody full-time in the clinic. And a lot of what we get from Minneapolis is there's nursing components in our IEPs. So they do that. They review the documentation and the shot records of our students. So that's where we bring them in to do that. But in terms of cost, a full-time licensed school nurse to do nursing full-time is very expensive. A health aide is much more cost-effective, and this role will fill the obligations, the legal obligations, and the fact that we do have a licensed school nurse on campus every day also allows us the protection for any kind of liability under the statute referred to.
That helps, because I had never heard anything about us hiring a full-time health aide up until just now. So thank you for clarifying that, because I looked at it and I went, I don't know.
Good. Okay, thank you, Mary. Are there other questions about the contract?
I mean, you kind of answered this, but just to clearly ask it, so it is more consultative versus like the operational,
Correct.
like, we're not having them performing the majority of that, like, on site?
No, they are a
Okay.
nurse consultant.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
Yeah, a lot of my questions answered. But right now, currently, we don't have that health aide in place. And our front desk staff does administer some of the medicine and under consultation with this contractor. And in the future, the health aide will be able to operationalize whatever nursing care and from a health aide perspective needs to be completed or administered. And then do we see this contractor's role reducing then, since we are claiming the oversight of a nurse and hiring a health aide? Do we anticipate that we'll have reduction of need for this contractor?
No, because this contractor, a lot of what they do is reviewing the shot records, which, Becky doesn't do, and doing the IEP components. So Becky doesn't write the IEP components, because there are portions, nursing components in every IEP. So that's what Carly does for us.
And this is also a billable service to the student's home
Yes,
district?
yes, the special ed component of it. Like the shot records component, that's a general ed service. Some students have health plans, and so that might be covered, but some students still need, more intense, like Becky actually manages a number of students who have diabetes on
So-
campus.
This consultant that touches the IEPs and the special education components, that billing goes to their home school.
Yep.
But other activities that they do is general education.
Correct.
I'll just reiterate, it'd be helpful to have more information on these contracts so that we don't have to ask the questions in the board meeting.
I just,
Go ahead, Jen.
I just had one other question. It seemed odd that it was just open-ended. Like some of them had like a cap and this one doesn't. Is there a reason for that or?
Well, part of it is we have to determine what the needs are gonna be in terms of, we don't know how many, so they will set a number of hours per week that they do that.
Okay.
Once we've settled the enrollment and whatnot. Carly's worked with us, since before I've gotten here, so at least 5 years she's been here. And sometimes we ask for services that aren't necessarily, they're add-on services, like to come and do the bloodborne pathogen training, which is everybody's favorite part of opening week. She does a nice job, but, there's different training sometimes that we have to do. There's different things, sometimes there are students with different, like epilepsy, or they have more severe, like allergies for, like, they might need an EpiPen more. There's some kids that have EpiPens but never use them, and then there's some kids who have some severe allergies that we have to be really on top of. So depending on what it is, there's some kids who will have, there's a lot of kids that have asthma. Most of them just carry their little inhalers and do fine. There are some kids who have really severe, and so they'll need additional training, so. It's hard to say before the year starts what they will need.
Yeah, I just was curious if there's all the other ones did have a cap, so it just seemed weird that this one didn't, that there wouldn't be like a, what are you gauging as far as like an incremental, I'm not,
Yeah.
more of just a.
And this one would be rather difficult to go through. I'm sure that we can through accounting, but it would take some time to figure out. We can tell you exactly how much we've paid them, but then we'd have to go through the accounting coding and the special ed coding to figure out what part was sped and what part was gen ed. It can be done, but it's time consuming.
Any other comments or questions?
So, just to confirm then, having a nurse on staff, do we know what that liability or responsibility is, or it's just to say that we have one hired and then staff? I'm just curious to know what the interpretation of the law is for having a nurse for 1,000 students or more. You've already done the work, it sounds like, to ensure that the combination of the health aid and having nurse on staff is covered, or is that Jillian's responsibility?
That falls under Jillian's responsibility, but this meets that requirement.
Thank you for the discussion. So the motion is to approve the Minneapolis Health contract for next year, the renewal of that. All in favor of approving? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes. Next, we are going to certify the board election results. So the motion here is just to move to certify the board election results for the 26-27 school year.
Do we want to announce the winners?
Oh, we do.
Some people don't know.
Should we,
who won.
well, should we motion first, or should we move first, or should we just discuss them? I guess we can talk about it first. We had a good turnout, and our winners were, I should say that first, I guess. So for the parent spot, Meyer Hidden will be our new parent representative, and he'll be joining us. We had 3 nominees, and we thanked them all. They all sounded highly qualified, like they'd be wonderful additions to the board. And then for the teachers, we had 2 who ran in 2 spots, so Marty Gaslin and Alex Walker will be our new teacher representatives. There were 3 teachers who got write-in votes, but yes, Marty and Alex will be the ones on there, so. And then there's just some raw data about who voted and how many votes we had. There were a total of 98 votes for parents, and there was a total of 196 votes, which I guess would be 98 doubled for teachers. 20 of the votes came from people who were on campus. Only 5 IEP addresses had 2 votes, which I believe that means that from a household, there were only 5 households that had 2 voters as opposed to 1. There were 74 unique IEP addresses, and there were no voting issues. And I know when we met, all the numbers matched up. So, great. Now, anyone would like to move to certify our election results?
And I just want to say the election committee also had recommendations for governance for next year to take a look at some of those election policies,
Oh, yeah, okay.
so.
Keep that in mind. A motion to approve? Anyone?
I can motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Great. Any questions, further questions about the election results or process? All right, so all in favor of certifying our election? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. Great, thank you. Next up, so last full board meeting, we had a presentation of Project Leads the Way, which is our science curriculum that we are hoping to adopt when elementary begins. And we would like to also move it into the middle school and high school. So we learned about those pathways for this age group. We need to purchase the curriculum, and I say that loosely, in that we're really purchasing materials that you need to have in order to do the curriculum. There's no formal contract with Project Leads the Way, other than purchasing materials and then annual minimal fees for training. So we had all the things to look at. So let's start with a motion, I guess, to approve purchasing Project Leads the Way curriculum and materials.
I'll move to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
So, any questions about Project Leads the Way or commentary?
I think they were gonna continue looking at grant options for this as we continue down the path. Do we know how that will be communicated?
So we've gotten quite several grants already are in there, yes. So those are likely, we just were awarded the biomedical grant, I think last week, maybe 10 days ago. So those will be the main grants for right now. There's not any, we've gotten a grant for everything, so I don't know where we're gonna get any more grants right now. Maybe next year we could get some more. But that's, there's a lot of equipment that needs to be purchased, which is the bulk of the cost. So this is the expensive year for that, as we buy all that equipment. And I can tell you that Ms. Malik and Ms. Seif had met with us to go through, because we had to review all of the equipment that we actually have, and we have a lot of equipment already at MSA. And they were extremely excited about just the things that we were gonna get to use and that kids were gonna be able to participate with, and a lot of things that they had used in college but had not seen in high school before, so they were very excited about that. So, but I was also excited to know that in all of those cabinets that Mark's gonna be busy cleaning out, there is a lot of equipment that we already own, so, and some of the equipment that we own is nicer, but these were all the purchases, although many of them are sole source, they're, still very reasonably priced comparatively to the things that might be, the other options if we were to buy something on an open market.
So, I know we've talked about Project Lead the Way, several times over the last few months. And it had always been relayed to the board that we've gotten grants to cover most of it, When I'm looking at this though, I'm just doing raw numbers here. It looks like the total cost is about $116,000. When you take out the $25,000 that are listed as grants, we've gotten 25%. That's not most of it in my eye. As I look at that, most would be 50+%, 75%. It's still gonna cost us $91,000 this first year. I'm not saying that it's bad, but I'm just saying that that's not what had been relayed to the board, on and on. 25,000 in grants is a good amount of money, but it's not most.
So what the most of this purchase is for equipment. So we've gotten the costs after the first year, so it is paying for nearly everything but the equipment. There is some money for the equipment, but there is expense. Now, the entire middle school curriculum, which I believe is 6 courses, is the bulk of that expense, because there's a lot of robots and whatnot that we need to buy. Once we own those, then we won't have that expense anymore. Yes, and I have little robot friends. So we do have sizable grants, but there is still a lot of equipment that we do need to buy.
So does that amount of around 30,000 what you'd expect on a year-to-year basis after the first year?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, it would be. It's likely not even going to be that high. It depends. I mean, it depends on what courses we add, and the materials cost. That is most of that. In the second year, is consumables. But we have to think when we're looking at 18,000 in materials for Gateway. That's for 3 grades, for 750 kids. That's not an enormous, that's about 6,000 a year per grade, which is not that out of line for what we would spend for even just normal classroom supplies for a science course.
I have a question too. For the training, right now we're paying that up front. If
Yep.
in the future, like we get a new teacher or a teacher leaves, do they have to do that training again then?
Well, they don't have to, but we would do it. It's about $1,200 for the training. So it's very much like an AP course. It's about that cost when we add, if an AP teacher leaves, we hire a new AP teacher, we send them to training, and that's about $1,200.
Any other questions or comments on the curriculum? So it sounds like summarized,
Yes.
it's a lot of upfront
Yeah.
costs. Oh, sorry, Mark, go ahead.
For that, the following year's consumables, is that something that's on like a subscription basis, or is that as needed a la carte kind of?
Yeah, it's all a la carte. There's no
Okay.
subscription to it. The only thing is there's a participation fee, which is not real high, but we do have to pay that. But some of them are consumable, like workbooks and whatnot, that we would have to pay for. But other than that, like in biomedical, a lot of it is there's like, cheap parts and different things that we need to buy that we don't buy for, they need to be replaced every year, which is not unusual in science classes.
So,
Go ahead, Mary.
you mentioned participation fee. And I guess I'm a little confused.
Mhm.
So as I'm looking at this, under the engineering pathway, the participation fee minus grant is 0 for both years. Does that mean we have a grant that covers that participation fee each year?
Yes.
But in 28, 29, there would likely be a participation fee there, right?
Yeah, but I think I'd have to look it up, it's not much, it's about $2,000.
Okay. And with the participation fee for the biomedical pathway, it looks like we got a grant for the first year, but not the second year, is that how I'm reading it?
So each of these grants are different in how they're funded. So we've got $12,000 from Project Lead the Way, plus we got some training stipends. Each of the grants, depends on what company they came from, are different. So, I mean, I can go back to the original document and try and figure out what. The participation fees, though, generally are around $2,000.
I was curious with the biomedical, because we have a cost for 27, 28, but not for 26, 27, so is that grant covering it for this year, but not for 26, 27, but not 27, 28?
Depends on how we decide to apply it. So the participation fee is $2,200 for biomedical,
Okay.
and it is $3,200 for the engineering.
Other thoughts, questions, comments? Okay, so, sounds like we've gathered some information. The motion is to approve the curriculum purchase and materials for Project Lead the Way. So all in favor of approving that? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Okay, motion passes. Thank you. Our next action item is the kitchen equipment, purchase of materials and financing. I'm gonna recommend that we break this into 2 motions. Do you wanna just quickly talk about it before we start, Kate?
So, the kitchen equipment is highly dependent on the kitchen design and what the health department and our food vendor needs. So we have gone through, the original equipment quote was huge. We went through and pared it down to the things that we absolutely have to have in order to run a food program. So those are the only items on there. Trimark is the main kitchen vendor, and so we negotiated prices with them. But we did not put it out to bid as the, then we start getting on all these different specs and it becomes quite difficult. So we used purchase via negotiation, and it meets our purchasing policy. It took us, we finally got the bid, I think last Wednesday, after multiple rounds with the county and the state and our construction firm and our food vendor and our architects. So we have landed on this list of kitchen equipment. We need to get it ordered fairly soon because we cannot get our food and beverage license until the equipment is installed. We can't, so once the kitchen equipment is installed, then the county can come in and give us a food and beverage license. Once we have a food and beverage license, then we can apply to the state to have school lunch. So we are on a road that, you know, the time is tight in order to get this done. So the sooner we are able to get the kitchen equipment ordered in, the sooner we'll be able to receive it, the sooner we can move forward with the school lunch program. So this is the bare minimum to run the school lunch program. It was recommended to us by our accountant and our bonding people, and you know, trying to make everything work with our cash flow to finance the equipment. So I think that what Kari is suggesting is first we approve the purchase of the equipment, and then the second thing would be how we will finance the equipment.
So tonight, we would make a motion to approve the purchase, and then in June, we would bring the financing terms to us?
I would request that we give me approval to enter into a financing contract, because we can't order the equipment until we can pay for it. So if we wait till June, I mean, we can do that. We kick everything back 3 weeks.
And we have a workshop early
June 2nd.
Could we approve the financing terms at that meeting?
Yeah, but the time between now and then is time that we can't have the equipment on order.
I think one fear would be that when we come to our opening in the fall, we have all these families coming with the expectation of a school lunch. And of course, if we don't have a equipped kitchen that has gone through all of the approvals from the county and the state and whoever else licenses all these things, we can't offer school lunch. And that would be, that'd be a pretty big deal, I would think.
I mean, we can offer it once we get approval, but there could be a period of time.
There might be some time where we can't.
So,
So when did you know that, I mean, these are major equipment, so we had to know that we need to purchase them.
mhm.
And we knew that it wasn't considered part of the bonding,
Mhm.
right? It's not part of the expansion and the build out. It just feels like that's not the right argument to be making. We have a financial responsibility to make sure that we're entering into lease terms that we are responsible for approving. And if, I'm sure everything's gonna go right and we've got a great lease term coming, but if, in the case it doesn't, the risk of not having a lunch versus over leveraging the school or violating the bond covenant is greater than not having lunch.
So we won't violate the bond covenant. It would just be, and we won't pay cash for it, so we're gonna have to finance it. It's just a matter of, we still don't, we have to apply for financing to know what the terms are. So we will, Trimark offers financing. We didn't get the final, it was this last week when we got the final list of what it is that we are gonna be buying. We can't apply for financing until we know what we're buying. So what my request would be that you would approve me entering into a finance contract, which is the best terms that we can, there's gonna be a 5-year term. I expect the interest rate to be around 10%, I don't know for sure. And we will go to our bank and we'll go to Trimark. If we get a good rate from Trimark, we would probably go with them. If we can go to our bank, we could do better. Potentially, we'll check and see. But if we wait to finance it, I mean, the idea would be that I would finance the kitchen purchase likely over 5 years, at the best interest rate we can find.
I mean, I think, I'm hearing it asks for the purchase price as priced out and ask for you to pursue financing versus outright purchasing or a contract. But then we won't have, you're asking that we not have any, that the decision be made tonight and that you wouldn't bring back to us the terms of the financing.
I can share the terms with of the financing, but if we would have to wait till the next board meeting or the next time we have quorum to approve them, if we choose not to approve the financing tonight, which delays.
Can you say more about it, not, I'm sorry, can you say more about it, not over leveraging the responsibility as outlined in the covenant?
Yep, so when I talked with Bruce Sorensen, who did our bonding, he said that we can, in our bond terms, borrow up to 5% of our revenue. So this is well below 5% of our revenue.
So what is, okay, well below, I mean, in the future, I appreciate more details, because it's well below, I don't know exactly what that means, so.
Well, I mean, we could go back and, I mean, next year's revenue will be more than 10 million.
Very question. And this may sound nitpicky, but I see a big gap that we might be missing, and I don't wanna miss something. So I'm gonna start out by asking a simple question. What are we serving these kids their lunches on? Is it a paper plate with plastic forks and spoons? Are they having trays?
So it's a compostable tray that they'll be served
Okay,
on.
because I'm like, I don't see a dishwasher anywhere in here, and how are we getting?
No, a dishwasher is another 40,000.
Well, I
if we
know,
wanna buy
and,
that.
so I'm
But,
like,
and
I
then
see
we
a
have to
missing
hire a
thing, but-
dishwasher, a person to actually run it too, so there's another expense in that too, so. They'll have
But then I
disposable
look at
utensils.
the cost of the additional trash and everything for
So
that.
when they, and that was part of the food, when we approved the food vendor. But the cost of compostable trays is still, with the added, trash hauling and whatnot, is still much less expensive than having trays that we have to wash. And, you know, because it requires a person to wash them, even if we
And
have a
we won't
dishwasher.
have any big, I mean, we have racks in here that they're asking for.
Yeah.
But we won't have any, responsibility for cleaning those racks or washing those racks.
Well, the racks the food sits on, like it's like a baker's rack.
Yeah, it's like a full sheet cake tray that they sit on.
So there's the trays and then there's the rack, which is the
Right.
full shelving unit. We will have things that we have to wash, we just it won't be, 500 trays.
Okay.
And we do have an area to clean that and stuff. And some of it is going back to the, because it's catered, they will take some of it away
Okay.
and bring different stuff. Because every day food will come in
Gotcha.
and then stuff will leave as well.
Okay.
Okay, so, I guess we should start with the motion, so we'll split it up into, so the first motion would be to approve the purchase of materials for the kitchen. Yep,
I'll make the motion to
Thank
approve
you.
the purchase of the.
Is there a second?
I'll approve the quoted purchase.
Thank you.
Of kitchen materials.
Thank you.
That was, on the second.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any other question about the purchase of the materials we're purchasing? Okay, so all in favor of approving the material purchase,
Quote,
the quote, thank you, of
kitchen materials.
the kitchen materials. All in favor, aye. Aye, opposed, abstained. Okay, so that motion passes to purchase everything there. So our second motion will be to approve Kate gathering different financing options, reviewing, choosing the best bid, and going into a contract with the best bid for financing. Okay. Kind of lengthy, but is there a motion to approve Kate to go into financing with the best bid? And
Entering into the agreement?
Entering into the agreement.
entering into the agreement, yes. Entering into the contract agreement.
Yeah, so I think it would be like authorize me to shop for the best
Rate in terms.
rate,
Rate
you know,
and terms.
best rate and terms,
Okay.
and then enter into the contract.
Okay,
I move to approve the executive director to enter into a financing agreement at the best available terms.
For the kitchen equipment.
Yeah, for the kitchen equipment.
that sound good? Okay. Would anyone like to make that motion without looking at your notes?
No, that's a vote. I
would
move,
like to move what she said.
There you go.
I move,
Which one of you is moving?
we're all moving.
Not
No,
tonight.
I'll take the move, or second, I'll second Mary.
I'll
I will,
take the motion
Okay,
of
thank
what
you.
you said.
Perfect.
and I'll second Mary of what you said.
Will you repeat what that motion was again?
To approve the executive director to enter into a financing agreement at the best available terms for the kitchen equipment.
That's it, yes.
Perfect. Any other conversation or commentary, questions, thoughts? Okay. All in favor of approving our motion that's on the table? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. All right. Okay, moving on. Enrollment procedure update. As Kate mentioned, this is for our application to MDE to switch authorizers. So do you want to say anything more, or should we just do the
Yeah,
motion
so we had a lot of feedback and comments on our admission policy. Caitlin and Joelle and I worked on those and have gone through and made changes based on the feedback from MDE. This has been sent over to NEO. I've requested for them to let us know if there's any changes. There isn't any substantive at this point. The board needs to approve the enrollment procedures. If there's any, minor language changes, we typically take care of those, but the overall procedure needs board approval. And this is something that is requested of us for our resubmission of our change in authorizer documentation.
Okay, so we'll do the motion first. The motion is to approve the enrollment procedure update. Someone like to make that motion?
I can move to approve the admission.
Enrollment procedure.
Yeah, enrollment admission procedure update.
Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you. Any questions about the updates? Okay, nothing heard. All in favor of approving the enrollment procedure update, enrollment admission update? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. Okay, last thing we need to do is we need to renew our membership in the Minnesota State High School League. We have a renewal form in front of us. Let's start, I guess, with the motion. Would someone like to motion to renew our membership with MSHSL?
Hi. Go ahead, it's all yours.
To renew the Minnesota State High School League membership
And is there a second?
I can say.
Thank you. All right, questions about the membership form? Any questions that you have?
We have, one on that first page regarding, bylaw 206.2. Member schools must develop and publicize administrative procedures to address eligibility suspensions related to school student code of responsibilities, and violations. And this is coming just because of a situation I know of in another school district, that happened and really impacted that school and that team substantially. I guess what is, I know all of the athletes and I know all of the participants in MSHSL activities, whether it be theater or drama or speech or basketball, volleyball, track, all sign the agreements, the MSHSL forms prior to participating. But as we look at this, if a student falls short of that and it comes to light to our school and our school board, I guess where is that, to ensure that it's handled appropriately and correctly, where does that fall? Because I guess I have not ever seen that piece in the handbook, the activities handbook. And again, I'm asking this because it came up in a different school district that I was very familiar with, and it had some significant ramifications for that too.
So the documents the students sign come from the state high school?
Right.
So what
But
are you asking?
this is saying that member schools must develop and publicize administrative procedures. So we must develop the administrative procedures to address eligibility suspensions. And I don't know that I've ever seen MSAs, how we address it. What are our procedures? And I guess that's what I'm saying, as going forward, we need to be sure and clear, because that would fall under the
Yeah,
board
so
when we approve it, but I don't know that I've ever seen it.
I don't know that the board approves the activities handbook. But I don't recall you doing that, but students need to be eligible, and Mr. Heyman determines eligibility and follows those procedures, but it's basically, we have our policy 510 where you have to be on track to graduate. And there are other suspensions that can happen due to behaviors that are outlined in those documents that they sign.
Consumption.
And those are year-long requirements, so even if soccer season is over and you are caught violating one of those procedures, there's a whole cadence in terms of how long you get suspended for. And so we have had students suspended before from athletics for various reasons, or other state high school league activities. It doesn't come to the board, but it does happen.
No, it's just in looking at how the schools must develop and publicize, that's the piece that I don't recall seeing anything outside of the MSHSL.
So I believe it's in the activities handbook. And that would be the governing document. The suspensions are typically for violations of code of conduct of some sort or another. And Mr. Heyman's on top of all of that. He attends all the AD meetings and whatnot. So we are following those rules, and we do have students suspended. I believe we have one student currently suspended from activities.
Any other questions or comments about the renewal form? So, all in favor of renewing our membership in the Minnesota State High School League? Approve? Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes. Great, so we have coming up, we have a workshop meeting at the beginning of June. And then we will be, at our next board meeting, doing our ED review, which we have to do annually. We're doing a budget approval. We'll be talking about board onboarding, which we discussed a little bit at our last workshop, but we'll try to come up with some dates for the onboarding for our new members and for all of us, just to be kind of a refresher update. I think that's it for future activities, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's more things. but
There's more.
These are the big ones.
Those are the biggies, okay. So, we need a motion to adjourn our meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second? All in favor of adjourning tonight's meeting? Approve? Opposed?